My dad says you'll never be the one, but every heartbeat I have screams your name like a confession I can't silence. He doesn't see how your wildness brings peace to my chaos, how you make my storms make sense. My dad thinks I'm blinded by you, but what if love was always meant to be a little blind and a little brave? He says you'll never settle, but I'm not asking you to. I just want you to choose me in your own untamed way. My dad calls you a phase, but every moment with you feels like a lifetime I don't want to end. He said, they'll never fit in. Maybe I don't want to fit in either. Not if it means losing you. My dad can't stand the way you make me glow. Maybe because he's never seen love like this before. He says you're unpredictable, but that unpredictability is the only thing that's ever felt honest to me. My dad thinks you'll destroy me, but you've only ever built me up in ways no one else dared to. He told me to choose someone calm, but calm never made my soul catch fire like you did. My dad doesn't get it. Your wildness isn't recklessness, it's passion refusing to be caged. He says love should be safe, but safe never changed me. You did. My dad fears you'll lead me astray, but what he doesn't realize is I was lost long before you came. He told me to stop dreaming about you, but even in my sleep, you're the storm I chase. My dad says I deserve better, but how do you define better when someone already feels like home? He calls you wild like it's a flaw, but to me, it's a freedom most people will never understand. My dad said, they'll leave you one day. I smiled because even if you do, you'll never really be gone. He can't understand why I love you. Maybe because he's never met someone who made rules feel useless. My dad sees rebellion when I'm with you, but I see truth finally breaking free. He said, you're changing. I said, yes, I'm finally becoming who I was meant to be, wild enough to love them. My dad doesn't like how I look at you, but he doesn't know that's the look of finally finding my peace in chaos. He warned me love like this burns out fast. Yet every day, our fire still burns bright. My dad calls you reckless, but what's more reckless than living a life without passion? He doesn't understand that your wildness is not danger. It's desire wearing honesty. My dad said you'd hurt me. You did. But somehow, I still thank you for showing me what real love feels like. He thinks you'll break my heart, but my heart only ever learned how to beat because of you. My dad sees only your flaws, but I see the beauty hiding in your broken pieces. He said, you're not good for them, but maybe good isn't what love was ever supposed to be. My dad calls you chaos, but I call you clarity, because in your madness, I finally understood myself. He says you'll never change. Maybe you don't have to. Maybe love means accepting the wild exactly as it is. My dad told me they'll ruin your future, but you became the only future I ever wanted. He said you'd never stay long, but your memory built a permanent home inside my heart. My dad calls you a distraction, but I call you destiny. He says wild love doesn't last. Maybe it doesn't, but it leaves marks no gentle love ever could. My dad doesn't see it. Your wildness taught me how to live without apology. He told me love should be polite, but your love was raw, real, and unapologetically alive. My dad fears you'll vanish, but you already exist in every version of who I'm becoming. He said, they're not right for you. But love isn't supposed to be right. It's supposed to be real. My dad thinks you're too much, but you're exactly enough for a heart like mine. He said you'd leave me with regrets, but all I'm left with is the echo of your laughter and the warmth of your chaos. My dad calls your love dangerous. I call it unforgettable. He said they'll drain your soul. Yet somehow you filled me with life instead. My dad believes I'll outgrow you. But how do you outgrow something that rewrote your soul? He said you're a storm, but I've always been drawn to lightning. My dad can't stand your wild energy, but I can't live without it. He told me to choose someone easier, but love was never meant to be easy, was it? My dad says your love is toxic, but if this is poison, I'd drink it again. He thinks I'll forget you. He doesn't know some loves burn forever, even in silence. My dad doesn't like how you challenge me, but maybe that's what love is supposed to do. He said, they'll never be loyal. Yet here I am, still loyal to your ghost. My dad calls you trouble, but sometimes trouble is what wakes the soul from sleep. He doesn't know that your wildness wasn't meant to tame me. It was meant to teach me how to fly. My dad said, you'll regret this. Maybe he's right, but I'd regret never loving you even more. My dad says you're too damn wild, but what he doesn't know is that your chaos healed my silence. He calls you trouble, but he never saw the way your laughter saved me from drowning in my own thoughts. My dad thinks you're wild, but he doesn't understand that wild is exactly what I needed to feel alive again. He told me to stay away from you, yet every time I do, my heart starts begging to disobey him. My dad fears you'll break me, but the truth is you already fixed pieces no one else even noticed were shattered. They call you reckless, I call you real, because you live like every heartbeat actually matters. My dad thinks you'll ruin me, but maybe that's what love is. A beautiful kind of ruin that builds something new. He says you're wild because you don't follow rules, but I fell for you because you follow your heart. My dad can't see it. Your wildness isn't destruction, it's freedom wearing a smile that feels like home. He told me love should be safe, but what I feel for you is dangerous and divine all at once. My dad doesn't understand. Your wildness doesn't scare me. It wakes something untamed inside me. He says you're too much for me, but maybe I've been too little for too long. My dad calls you chaos. I call you comfort, because in your madness, I found my peace. He wants me to find someone calm, but calm never made my soul dance like your storm does. My dad said, they'll hurt you. And maybe he's right, but I'd rather hurt with you than feel nothing at all. He thinks your wild spirit will burn me, but I'd gladly turn to ash if it meant touching your fire once more. My dad sees rebellion when he looks at you. I see a heart brave enough to live unapologetically. He said, you're not the type I should bring home. I said, maybe home is wherever you are. My dad fears your chaos, but maybe chaos is the only language my heart ever understood. He thinks love should be quiet, but with you it's thunder, and I'm not afraid of storms anymore. My dad says you're unpredictable, but that's exactly what makes every second with you unforgettable. He doesn't get it. I don't need perfect. I need passion. I need you. My dad wants control. You offer freedom. And between the two, I know which one feels more like love. He said, they'll never settle. I said, neither will I. Not until it feels like them. My dad fears your wild side, but I crave the honesty that comes with it. He calls you dangerous, but danger never felt so divine. My dad doesn't see the tenderness beneath your chaos, the way your wildness still knows how to love. He says I'm blinded by infatuation, but maybe I'm finally seeing clearly for the first time. My dad thinks you'll wreck me, but love isn't about safety, it's about surrender. He says I need stability, but I need passion that makes my bones remember they're alive. My dad can't stand how fearless you are, but I adore that you refuse to apologize for existing. He warned me about you, but he never warned me about how dull life would feel without you. My dad calls you wild like it's a curse, but to me, it's the most beautiful kind of blessing. He says you live without rules, but maybe that's why your love feels so real. My dad doesn't trust you, but I trust the way your eyes make everything else disappear. He said, they'll never stay, but every goodbye from you feels like a promise to return. My dad sees a rebel. I see someone brave enough to be themselves in a world full of masks. He says you'll leave scars, but maybe love isn't meant to leave us untouched. My dad thinks I'm foolish for loving your wild soul, but he's never felt what it's like to be fully alive. He told me to pick safe love. I chose the one that makes my heart race instead. My dad calls you a storm, but even storms have rainbows hidden inside them. He said, you can't change them. I said, I don't want to. I love them just as they are. My dad's afraid you'll take me off course. But what if you are my destination? He says you'll never fit into our world. I say maybe it's our world that needs to expand. My dad thinks wild means wrong, but your wildness taught me what truth feels like. He said, you'll regret it. Maybe I will, but I'll regret not loving you even more. My dad doesn't see the poetry in your chaos, the beauty in your defiance. I do. He said, they're unpredictable. I said, so is love. That's why it's worth it. My dad fears losing me to your fire, but I'm already burning and I've never felt more alive. He thinks you're trouble, but sometimes trouble is exactly what saves a soul. My dad believes love should be logical, but you and I were born for something that defies reason. He says you'll never calm down, but I don't want calm. I want connection that roars. My dad calls you wild, but I call you truth with wings. He doesn't see it. You're wild, yes, but you love like the universe loves, endlessly.